How's it going, you guys? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about how I managed to do powerlifting and MMA at a high level on a regular basis every single day while eating a ketogenic diet with no carbs. Okay. So, first of all, a ketogenic diet, for those of you who don't know, is any kind of diet that keeps your net carbohydrates below 20 grams, okay? 20 grams is the basic limit, the rule of thumb for any human to remain in ketosis. But some people can tolerate more, especially if you're doing MMA and powerlifting like me. Your body is able to utilize that glucose without kicking out of ketosis. But for me, when I talk about my diet, I keep net carbs under 20 grams. That's what I do because I'm guaranteed to stay in ketosis all the time. And so, so carbohydrate sources on a ketogenic diet are going to be fibrous. That means broccoli, that means leafy greens. There's no rice, no starches, none of that are allowed. Typically small amounts of fruit, mainly berries and low glycemic, low type of fruits or whatever that are high in fiber and low in carbs. People will eat those. But anyway, it's mainly fat, mainly protein. Okay, so there's a lot of people who think that you cannot exercise vigorously on a ketogenic diet, or they think that competitive athletes should avoid it. There are some athletes out there like TJ Dillashaw, which claimed to be on a ketogenic diet leading up to one of his recent fights, but then of course he was caught with PEDs. But for the most part, there's not a lot of ketogenic athletes out there, especially ones that are doing glycotic sports like MMA and football and basketball. You'll see a lot of endurance runners doing a ketogenic diet, and that's because it's been scientifically shown, it's been scientifically proven that keto-adapted athletes that are doing marathon races, elite level athletes are fat adapted. That means you've been doing a ketogenic diet longer than 2 months. You become fat adapted at that point. But in the first 2 weeks of a ketogenic diet, your performance might not be so great. It takes a while for your body to adapt to burning its own body fat as fuel for exercise. Anyway, it's been proven that there's greater performance for marathon athletes and endurance athletics on a ketogenic diet. But a lot of people believe that MMA and sprinting and stuff like that is impossible to do, that you need carbs for that. But I can tell you for sure that that's not the case. So for me, my ability to explode and to be powerful, to be quick and fast has not gone down at all on a ketogenic diet. As a matter of fact, I believe my capacity for fast twitch explosion and glycotic exercise has actually gone up, okay? And not to mention I can recover from these bouts of, these 1 minute sprints, you could say, much faster than the other people that are, much faster than before when I was eating carbohydrates. Interestingly enough, during my first month on a ketogenic style diet, which by the way, you can achieve ketosis through fasting and through many other mechanisms. As long as you're consuming less than 20 grams of net carbs, it doesn't matter. But my first month doing a ketogenic diet properly, my strength actually increased every workout. I actually noticed an immediate increase in strength, which was fascinating. So my performance has gone up. I don't see any decreases in performance. In fact, I think I see nothing but increases. How did I do it? How do I maintain this? Like, why am I getting such great results but other people aren't? Well, first of all, you have to understand, like, the main factor Okay, so first of all, in the first 2 weeks, you're not fat adapted. You have to have been doing it for at least 4 weeks in order for your body to start to, so your body starts to break down its body fat into ketones within 3 days. And you'll get keto breath, you'll start peeing a little bit more like darker. Your ketones are not being used, but they're being broken down. After about 1 to 2 weeks, your body is absorbing those ketones now. After about 1 week, your body's absorbing those ketones and using them as energy. The thing is, a lot of people, they don't exercise during the first month. The thing is, if you don't exercise while your body's adapting to ketosis, it's going to take you longer to start to use those ketones for exercise. There's a lot of evidence and a lot of experts who believe that for each type of exercise you do, you've got to adapt your body to using ketones again individually for those types of exercises. And so so for me, I was weightlifting I was doing powerlifting, max effort lifts the entire first month. And after about 1 week, my body was clearly using those ketones to fuel the exercise. Although I think I was using MCT oil, but I don't think that matters as far as using ketones. That doesn't matter. As far as breaking them down, yeah, my body was breaking down ketones, and I was giving my body extra ketones from the brain octane oil, the MCT oil. But within the first week, my body started to use those for exercise. I was getting stronger every single week. And then after the first month, I tried with no MCTs, and my endurance actually started to increase at that point. So I think that actually increased my performance removing the MCTs, because now my body's being more efficient at its own fuel. Regardless, the point is, you've got to continue exercising vigorously during the first month. That's how you get your body to adapt to using these ketones for exercise. Otherwise, it'll take you longer, because you're going to have to get your body used to using those ketones at some point for that exercise. So that's the first thing. Okay, so if you're one of these people who are still eating carbs every now and then, in the first couple, you're never entering ketosis. Every time you eat that banana, your body's exiting ketosis, and it's going to have to readapt. Okay, sure, after about 6 months of being strictly ketogenic, you could add some extra carbs in and not stay out of ketosis for too long. Your body gets used to coming back into ketosis at that point. But if you haven't strictly followed a ketogenic diet for at least 6 months yet, you can't do that. Every time you eat carbs, like I get people saying, oh, ketogenic diet didn't work for me. I felt hypoglycemic. And then I ask them, well, tell me about your carb intake. Oh, I wasn't really tracking, but I'd eat a bowl of oatmeal, every time I felt low blood sugar. And then I felt better. I'm like, yeah, guy, that's why you felt hypoglycemic. Your body's still trying to burn glucose as fuel, because you haven't gone 3 days without eating carbs. Like, yeah, I have like a banana like at the nighttime, this and that. Like, dude, like, how do you you never went into ketosis, never even started. You're still giving your body little bits of carbs. Like, that's going to make you hypoglycemic. That's way worse than being ketogenic. That's really bad. So yeah, don't be one of those people who think, oh, just a little bit of carbs. Like, yeah, a little bit of crack. Like, no. That's going to keep you out of ketosis at the very least. So there's that. You must get your body to keto adapt. You can't be eating rice. You can't be eating oatmeal. Remove all fruits at first. Remove tomatoes. Remove anything and track your food. If you're not tracking your food, you're a moron. Absolutely. If you're wondering why am I having trouble with a ketogenic diet? I don't understand. and you're not tracking your food, you don't know how many calories you're eating if you don't track your food. You may think you're eating a lot, but you don't know. Protein and fat is very hard to eat, 3,000 calories worth of. That's why it's so effective for fat loss, one of the reasons. If you're an athlete and you're not eating above your maintenance calories and you're experiencing tiredness and fatigue and low exercise performance, that's why. Because you're not eating enough fuel, you're not eating enough calories. Okay? There will be a certain point when your body is fully keto adapted to where you don't need as many calories because it's actually burning its own body fat for calories. But for one, if you're already really lean, you don't have as much body fat to burn. You actually probably still have 40,000 calories worth. But until you've reached that point where your body's like an expert fat adapted machine, you're going to need more calories. You're going to need to eat a high amount of calories. If I'm eating chicken and broccoli. Okay, good. You're eating like 800 calories a day. Really, that's such a low amount. That's like less than an anorexic teenage. That's less than Eugenia Cooney. Point is, you need to be consuming at least your maintenance amount of calories. I have a Fitbit. I track my real-time calories every day. See how many calories, how much approximate calories I'm burning each day. This is the closer you're going to get wearing a real-time heart monitor. And I make sure I eat enough. Because I've done periods of intermittent fasting where I don't eat like even 1,000 calories or whatever. And if I'm doing powerlifting and MMA and I'm going through a hard week of training, I will start to fatigue. I will start to have trouble. But I've been doing a ketogenic diet for so long now, it's not as much of a problem for me as it is for other people. So I do like 24-hour fasts and whatnot, and I'm fine. I can exercise 3 to 4 times within that fasting window and not need food. And you'll find a lot of people have that same benefit, which is why it's so powerful to actually keto adapt. But it will catch up to you. Okay, so yeah, like if you're not consuming enough calories and matching, if you don't know how much calories you're eating and don't know how much you're burning, then it's no wonder why you might have problems. Like you could use an estimated calculator. Like if you use one of those online calculators, it's not going to be nearly as accurate as my Fitbit. Because those online calculators claim I burn like 3,000 a day. My Fitbit says I burn 4,000 to 4,500 a day on a hard training day. So, you've got to like do a good job of like tracking and whatnot. So there's that. Okay? Then the last thing here is how much sodium are you consuming? Are you making sure you get in enough minerals? So if you sweat a lot and you're not drinking enough water, you're not taking in enough salt, you're not taking in enough magnesium. So the potassium thing is a double-edged sword because your body generally holds on to potassium very efficiently, even in a ketogenic diet. And if you overdo the potassium, you will have heart palpitations. So you gotta be very careful with that. But generally speaking, look for recipes for Keto Raid or whatever. It's like a keto drink for sports performance. Try to get in at least 400 milligrams of magnesium every night. Look into new salt, look into that. If you're not having cramps, you're not having problems like that, you probably don't need extra electrolytes. Typically, if you follow like Dr. Berg's keto protocol where you eat like, 8 cups of vegetables a day, or you make a smoothie with 8 cups of greens, that'll probably give you all your magnesium, your calcium, and your minerals, which is why I'm not on this whole anti-plant food train. Because because I think that it's very beneficial, I found, to get your minerals from a whole food source like that. Just make a large smoothie with like greens. And then that's where like your low carb fruits would come into play, like lemons and limes, blackberries and whatnot. But it's very easy to overdo those things. You know, spirulina or like wheatgrass is probably a good source of magnesium. Cacao powder is a great one too. You know, you gotta supplement with minerals at a certain point, but unless you're eating your meat raw, right? That's probably how humans did it originally. And then they also consume the blood of their enemies, which obviously if you consume the blood of an animal, it's giving you all of the things you need, really. Although that's kind of scary to think about. What about the hepatitis you might get from these animals, right? Well, anyway, so yeah, get your minerals, make sure you're eating enough calories, make sure you're actually keto adapted. And you won't notice any decreases in performance. And in many cases, you might notice a drastic increase in performance. My work capacity's gone up. I love exercising. I can exercise at any point in time and not experience any significant like downfalls in my energy as long as my calories are maintained. Obviously, you don't want to just exercise for the fuck of it. You want to have a strategy, a program. But I'm just saying, like, you'll notice a drastic increase in how much you can do. So I hope that that's helped. For a great resource on this, for you to see the protein sparing effects of ketosis, for you to see the glycogen sparing effects, and the enhanced recovery and performance. The best resource, and I have it on the couch over there, but I'm not going to go get it in the middle of the video, is The Art and Science of Low Carbohydrate Performance by Stephen Finney and Jeff Volok, PhD researchers. Amazing research, over 100 peer-reviewed studies between each other. Go and check that out. Buy it. It's like $7 for a brand new one from Amazon. I highly recommend it. And then to find out how to actually live a low carb lifestyle the right way, The Art and Science of Low Carb Living by the same people. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll talk to you on the next video. And subscribe for more awesome information like this.